Hello fellow gardeners and welcome back to the Humus Heritage. If you've been following along on our journey to build healthier, more vibrant gardens through sustainable practices, you know we're all about getting our hands dirty and testing the methods that truly work. Today, we're tackling one of the most debated questions in the gardening world. Should you bury your kitchen scraps directly in the ground, or is a traditional compost bin the real champion for soil enrichment? We're putting these two methods head-to-head in the ultimate showdown to give you the definitive answer about which approach will truly transform your garden soil into that rich, life-giving foundation your plants are craving. Let's address the elephant in the garden shed right away. There's a persistent myth floating around that burying kitchen scraps is essentially the same as composting, just without the bin. Many gardeners think they can simply dig a hole, toss in their coffee grounds and banana peels, cover it up, and call it a day. While this approach does return organic matter to the soil, calling it equivalent to proper composting is like saying a campfire is the same as a professionally built wood-fired oven. Both involve heat and transformation, sure, but the control, efficiency, and end results are dramatically different. Your composting method directly impacts not just the health and productivity of your garden, but also how efficiently you're cycling nutrients, supporting beneficial soil organisms, and reducing waste in an environmentally responsible way. Burying kitchen scraps, often called trench composting or in situ composting, appeals to many gardeners because of its beautiful simplicity. The process involves selecting an area of your garden that isn't currently planted, digging a hole or trench about 12 inches deep, depositing your organic waste like vegetable peelings, fruit scraps, and coffee grounds, then covering everything with at least 8 to 12 inches of soil. The appeal is immediately obvious. No bin to purchase, no pile to turn, no visible compost heap taking up space. You're essentially feeding the soil directly where plants will eventually grow, letting the underground ecosystem of worms, bacteria, and fungi do all the work for you. However, this is where the limitations begin to reveal themselves. When you bury scraps, you're creating an anaerobic environment where oxygen is limited. You have absolutely no control over the carbon-to-nitrogen ratio, moisture levels, or temperature of the decomposition process. The area where you've buried the scraps becomes essentially unusable for planting for several months, sometimes up to 6 months or longer depending on what you've buried, and your soil conditions. If you bury too much at once or don't cover it deeply enough, you risk attracting pests or creating unpleasant odors. Moreover, because the process happens underground and out of sight, you can't monitor progress or make adjustments to speed things along. Now let's talk about the traditional compost bin, which operates on entirely different principles and delivers remarkably superior results for most gardening situations. A properly managed compost bin creates an aerobic environment where oxygen-loving microorganisms thrive and multiply rapidly, generating heat that accelerates decomposition dramatically. This isn't just faster, it's fundamentally more effective at creating that dark, crumbly, sweet-smelling finished compost that gardeners dream about. The magic happens through careful attention to 3 key factors: the balance of brown materials like dried leaves and shredded paper with green materials like kitchen scraps and grass clippings, maintaining adequate moisture so the pile feels like a wrung-out sponge, and ensuring proper aeration through turning or mixing. When these conditions are met, thermophilic bacteria take over, heating the pile to temperatures between 130 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This heat not only speeds decomposition but also kills weed seeds and potential pathogens, giving you a cleaner, safer end product. Within as little as 4 to 8 weeks with hot composting, or 3 to 6 months with a more passive approach, you'll have finished compost that looks and smells like the forest floor, a universal soil amendment you can spread anywhere in your garden. The compost bin gives you complete control and visibility over the entire process. You can adjust the ratio of materials, add water when things get dry, turn the pile to reinvigorate decomposition, and actually see and smell the transformation happening. The finished product is consistent, predictable, and incredibly versatile. So, after examining both methods thoroughly, the traditional compost bin emerges as the clear winner for most gardeners seeking maximum soil enrichment and versatility. The controlled environment produces finished compost faster, more consistently, and with better nutrient availability than buried scraps can achieve. You gain the ability to create large volumes of high-quality amendment that can be used throughout your entire garden, rather than being limited to slowly improving individual spots. The finished compost from a bin also improves soil structure more effectively, enhancing water retention in sandy soils and drainage in clay soils, while simultaneously providing a balanced array of nutrients and beneficial microorganisms. That said, burying scraps isn't without merit for specific situations. If you have limited space, small quantities of kitchen waste, or want to directly target improvement of a specific future planting area without maintaining a pile, trench composting can work as a supplementary strategy. It's also ideal for gardeners who simply cannot commit to the regular maintenance a bin requires. The best approach might even be hybrid: maintain a compost bin for your primary composting needs, while occasionally burying scraps in areas you're preparing for next season's plantings. The key takeaway is this: composting is about understanding decomposition and working with nature's processes rather than against them. Whether you choose the superior control and efficiency of a bin or the simplicity of burial, you're making a positive contribution to your garden's health and our planet's well-being. If you found this showdown valuable, make sure to subscribe to the Humus Heritage and hit that notification bell so you never miss our garden science experiments and practical growing guides. Share this with your fellow gardeners and let us know in the comments which method you prefer and why. Here's to richer soil and more abundant harvests.